what happens with the Dolphins at 0-3. Any temperature, pulse check of Stephen Ross here that's worthy of looking at, or the Dolphins aren't even thinking about this sort of stuff?
Here's what I would tell you, Rich, because there's going to be people who talk about that game last night, which was a loss still, even though they were certainly competitive in that game, as well. They saved their jobs. I never got the sense, in speaking with people and understanding the situation, I never got any sense that this was even a consideration. Now, you lose 100-0 last night. A lot of different things can change. That was not that type of game. You saw that they were competitive, especially on the offensive side of the football. You got the ball in the hands of Tyreek. You got the ball, at least in the end zone once, to Jalen Waddle. You really seem to have found something in Ollie Gordon. The issues that they ran into were very much the issues we've seen through the course of this season, and a lot of it boils down to Tua Tagovailoa. I know that the quarterback gets, more of the credit than they should when you win. They get more of the blame when you lose. But he's got 5 turnovers this season, and they have been some big ones, and they've been some fundamental ones. You go back to week 1 in Indianapolis, Lou Anarumo just calls a standard zone drop, and Tua throws a ball right to Leatu Latu that looks like he's targeting him on the play for a pick, as that thing kind of got away from him. Last week against the Patriots, there were operational issues late in that game too, which were not great. But Tua, from a decision-making standpoint, it wasn't great. Then, and I heard you guys talking about this in the last segment, there's Tua's version saying, hey, he just made a great play. There's McDaniel's version saying the ball's got to go to the flat. When I watched that play back, and I am not, a quarterback guru, you certainly could follow up, Rich. You've got enough of those guys in the rotation on this show. But that play, which is a concept, by the way, the Dolphins don't run a lot. I know that there was a comment made by Terrell Bernard that, well, we saw things on tape. They don't run that play a whole lot. When I watched that play and knowing what it's supposed to look like, the whole thing looks rushed. Watch Tua Tagovailoa on that play. He's in the shotgun or the pistol on that play, but there's still supposed to be a drop. He kind of gets it and doesn't entirely look off the flat, and then just kind of comes back and his feet are stuck in cement. The whole thing just looked like it was sped up. And so when the timing is off and the angles are off, if there's things with your drop or the timing of the play, that creates opportunities for defenders to make plays on the football. There's obviously other things that happened in that game last night. The Zach Sealer punt block. Why are they trying to block the punt? Why is Zach Sealer on the field? Why is Zach Sealer anywhere near Bill Burr, or the new punter, nice. Cameron Johnston for the Bills? And then the Jordan Brooks one, where it looks to me, I've watched that play back because it was running over and over on a loop on TV this morning. I've watched it 10 times. It looks like Brooks is kind of, he maybe is giving him the business a little extra, but he's trying to ease off and he kind of falls awkwardly. Official throws the flag. You just can't put yourself in that type of a position. But in terms of, if you're looking for, has Mike McDaniel lost the locker room? Have the leaders bailed on this thing? Does Tyreek Hill look like a guy who's going to push the eject button? I don't sense any of that there, and I don't sense that in the building. The other part of this, Rich, and I know you alluded to this as well, the Dolphins are very much tied to Tua for the 2026 season. He is due, forget the cap hits if you cut him, he is due $54 million fully guaranteed in 2026. And if he's still on your roster, I think it's the 3rd day of the league year in March, which when you own $54 million fully guaranteed, it's a good bet he is. Another $3 million in 2027 becomes fully guaranteed. So if you move on from, let's say, Mike McDaniel right now, which again, I've never gotten the sense that was a consideration 3 weeks into a 17-game season, what purpose is it serving? What are you trying to get out of the next 14 games? And oh, by the way, then you're locking yourself into, well, we have to hire a new head coach for 2026. And that head coach is going to be told, all right, we got $54 million in Tua. What are you going to do with him? This has to be your quarterback. That may not be palatable to a lot of people. I mean, there's not enough said, and I don't mean to just be a Mike McDaniel defender here, but there is not enough talked about with the hoops that Mike McDaniel has to jump through on a week-in, week-out basis to design a game plan for a quarterback who can't get hit. You can't have him holding the ball. You can't have him designed runs. You can't really run quarterback sneaks. We've seen some of the, in relative terms, the least athletic quarterbacks in the NFL get exposed at times as runners. Tom Brady ran a pass route in a Super Bowl. It didn't end well, but they put that in the game plan. You can't do that with Tua. You can't run a naked bootleg. You're not going to run zone read with him just to keep people honest. If you watch the game last night, whether it's he's not trusting the protection, whether it's he doesn't want to get hit, or he's been told don't get hit, he's not stepping up in the pocket. Everything when there's pressure, he's going out the back of the pocket and he's flushing left. And all those things combined make it really hard to produce on a week in and week out basis, that even when you draw up a play that maybe has a chance to succeed, he either doesn't go the right spot with it, or the timing and the drop is off. It's just a lot of different things that go into this. And having said all that, Rich, they've still, if you look at the schedule on the other side of the bye, they've got 4 or 5 winnable games coming up here where they've got a chance to get back in it, but they've got to get better as a team. They've got to clean up those self-inflicted errors, and Tua's got to play a lot better than he's played through these first 3 weeks.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.